So this evening we are going to be spoken to by the Teachers Lounge. But for those of you that might be here for the first time, I'll just give you a little bit of a background to Talk Matters. Talk Matters was started by Jenny Nemko 2 years ago. And Jenny has been working for many years on trying to help Israeli-Palestinian relations. She has been extremely active in Neve Shalom in Israel, which is a parallel school for Palestinian children and for Israeli children. And she wanted to bring attention, the good news that was happening, a good dialogue between both parties and Christians as well. So she started Talk Matters, and she believes, and I completely agree with her, that a common interest for peace and living together leads to talking, listening and trusting. So we've reached a milestone on Talk Matters, and we are 2 years old, and we are very committed to continuing. And as you know, we have these webinars where organizations that have signed up to Talk Matters are able to come and talk to all of you about what they're doing and what successful missions they have undertaken. So the housekeeping rules are, once we've heard from Mayor Berman and Hanin, and Naer, if I've pronounced that right, we will open to questions, and they're very keen to have a very interactive session tonight. So please think about your questions as we're going along. And if you could put them into the chat box, at the end, I can then chair a question and answer session. So I think with that, I will hand over now to Mayor, who will give us some background to the Teachers Lounge and introduce us to those that are going to be representing it this evening. And I know from myself, education is so important. So I think the Teachers Lounge are very, very, it's very apposite that they are doing what they're doing and that they've joined Talk Matters.
Thank you, Aviva, and a very good evening, everyone. My name is Meir. I'm from the Teachers Lounge program from Jerusalem. First, I want to begin by thanking Talk Matters for providing us the stage and the opening. We feel that it's just as important to share what we do. And in a minute, we will also be sharing exactly what we do. I want to thank Orna and Hanin for from Teachers Lounge, who are both teachers, very busy these days during the opening school year. I don't know how many of you know, but teachers are, in my opinion, the busiest people on the planet. And I've noticed that since I've been working in the program. My story is a little bit different. I'm not a teacher. I don't have any background in the education system other than being a student many years ago. I come from a business background. I've worked for the high-tech industry in Israel for about 20 years, mostly in business positions, traveled the world. And at some point in my life, I realized that I wanted to make a change, and I wanted to start investing my time in what I call meaningful projects, projects with potential to change our lives and the future and the lives of our kids in Israel. So I joined the program 5 years ago, first as a volunteer. And soon enough, I realized this is what I would like to dedicate my time for. And I've taken upon myself the role of resource development, partnerships, and strategy. So I'm fortunate to be able to bring my business background into the nonprofit world, which is a very important, becoming more and more important for NGOs finding their way and growing very similarly to business organizations. I want to take the next few minutes to very quickly give you some high-level details about the program, and just to give you the whereabouts of the landscape in which we act. And very soon, I would want to hand over to my colleagues, the teachers, who are really much more knowledgeable about what goes on in the program in terms of the impact and what it can do in the education system in Israel. So we started off in 2014 in Jerusalem. I don't know how many of you know, but the education system in Israel is quite different and unique in the sense that each society, each segment of the population has its own education system. And as a result, you can grow up in Israel as a religious Jew or as an Arab or as an ultra-Orthodox Jew and never have an encounter with a fellow kid, often living maybe a few hundred meters from your house, and you just don't have an opportunity to meet each other. So we are a very mixed society with a lot of issues, as you know. And the fact and the way in which our education system is built is not making it easier. This is, by the way, the demography of Jerusalem. From 2019, you can see that we have like growing portions, very big portions of different segments, and these segments are not having any relations with one another. As a result, we have a lot of, there is lack of connection, different education systems, sometimes different culture, different languages. And as a result, we often face fear, guilt, cultural gaps, hostility, prejudice, and so on. This very often results in violent eruptions among our society. And I suppose you're all aware of the recent incident of May 2021, in which we had very, very severe cases of violence among our society, a lot of cases in the mixed cities of Israel. And this is not only a problem of Israel and Palestine. This is a challenge that we are facing also within our society within Israel. Teachers Lounge was formed in 2014 in Jerusalem, and we are running an annual professional development program for teachers, which is 10 workshops along the school year. We consider the teachers as our change agents. We want to make a change in the society in Israel. We want to develop multicultural competence among our educators so they can go and talk and make a change with their students. So far, we have trained more than 350 teachers from 130 different schools. We are running at the moment 4 centers in Israel. The first one was built in Jerusalem. The second one was opened in the West Galilee last year. And 2 new centers are opening up in the coming year. So I want to hand over to Daniel to play a short video that actually talks much better than me about the program. And so more information will be coming on the program from that video.
أنا جيت على هذا البرنامج وانضميت له من باب الفضول. كان عندي فضول الانكشاف على الآخر، بس كمان كنت بحب أعرف الآخر اللي بيشبهني شوي، اللي فيه بيني وبين أرضية مشتركة اللي هي التعليم. فأنا كنت بحب أعرف معلم زيي ولكن هو آخر، والآخر بالنسبة لي هو أكيد بهذا القدس هو يهودي.
אני חושבת שמה שהוביל אותי זה הדיסוננס בין מה שאני חושבת לבין מה שאני עושה. כי אני מאמינה בדו-קיום, אני חושבת שאין לנו פה אפשרות של חיים אחרים חוץ מאשר חיים שמכירים בזכויות השוות של בני הארץ לחיות פה, ובניסיון לחיות פה ביחד, ועם זה שבפועל עד אותו רגע אף פעם לא דיברתי עם ערבי, לא הכרתי ערבי, אני בטח לא מדברת אף מילה בערבית, והמחשבה שצריך להתקדם הלאה אל המעשה.
أنا إيمان دباح، معلمة لغة عبرية في شرقي القدس. باشتراكي هون في دورة غرفة المعلمين كان في تبادل جميل بيننا وبين معلمين من المنطقة اليهودية. تعلمنا من بعض الأدوات اللي بنستعملها في المدارس. تعلمنا برضو، كان في مشاركة تجارب في آراء في كيف ممكن إحنا نمرق مواد بعض. في بعض المعلمين بيعطوا مواد لغة عربية، أنا كمعلمة بعطي لغة عبرية في منطقة عربية، كان الإشي مفيد لإلي.
אני שמעתי על התוכנית חדר מורים דרך העמותה לזכר שירה בנקי. אני הייתי המורה לתיאטרון של שירה. גם מה שמשפחת בנקי עושה, ספציפית גם כמובן התוכנית הזאת, זה לקדם מתינות במרחב הציבורי ולקדם שיח שמגיע מתוך הקשבה. ואני חושבת שזאת הגדולה של התוכנית הזאת, שהיא באמת מאפשרת להכיר, עבורי לפחות, מאפשרת להכיר את הצד השני, אנשים שבעצם חיים יחד איתי בעיר הזאת, ולא הייתי נפגשת איתם אלמלא התוכנית הזאת. יצאנו לסיורים ביחד, וגם להיכנס לשכונות במזרח העיר שבחיים לא הייתי מגיעה אליהם בנסיבות אחרות.
أكثر قصة نبهتني أو هيك ضوت عندي شيء جديد هو قصة صبية اسمها أخي نعم، اللي هي بتعتبر زي قائد ديني اللي عملت ثورة بمحل من المحلات، اللي هي البنات بتروح بتصلي في الكوتل، بتقود مجموعة دينية. تحمست للفكرة بوجود إنه امرأة ثورية بمحل ديني، لأن بعرف إنه إحنا بمجتمعنا أنا وهم المرأة عندها شوية حدود، مش هالقد صلاحياتها عالية بالذات في الدين اليهودي، ففكرة شجاعتها كانت ملفتة بالنسبة لي.
במפגשים הראשונים לא הצלחתי להשתחרר מהסיפור של השפה, שמדברים עליי או איתי בשפה שאני לא מבינה, שאני לא יכולה להתפרץ למישהו לדברים, כי רגע צריך לתרגם את מה שהוא אומר ואחרי זה את מה שאני אומרת, ואיזה הקשבה זה דורש ממני גם לניואנסים ולדקויות של מילים וגם איזושהי סבלנות. זו הייתה מבחינתי חוויה ממש מטלטלת. אני מורה לאזרחות, ואני מתעסקת במסגרת הלימודים עם זכויות הערבים, עם השסע הלאומי, עם כל מיני מושגים שקשורים לקונפליקט, וההבנה שאני עכשיו מדברת על המושגים האלה לא רק בתור תיאוריה, אלא גם מתוך שיח, ואני יכולה לספר על איזשהם חוויות שהן חוויות אותנטיות שלי, של מפגש. אני מרגישה שזה הופך את זה למשהו הרבה יותר משמעותי. גם לתלמידות זה מעניין, וגם לי הדברים יותר מורכבים.
تعريفي لهويتي وانتماءاتي اختلف بترتيبهم وأولوياتهم على حسب اللقاءات اللي أنا مريت فيها. أنا ثالث مرة باخد غرفة معلمين أو بنضم لهذا البرنامج برغبتي الشخصية أكيد. الإشي اللي زاد عندي هو شعوري بإنسانيتي أعلى من كوني أي شخص آخر أو أعلى هوية من أي إشي تاني. صرت بقدر أفهم اليوم قد إيه أنا إنسان، قد إيه بقدر أحكم على الآخر بإنسانيته، مش على دينه أو لونه أو من وين هو أجا أو ليش هو أجا. بحاسبه على إنسانيته، بعدين بفكر هو ليش هون، كيف ممكن أساعده، كيف ممكن أحكم عليه بطريقة أحسن، أو ليش حتى أحكم عليه، ممكن أتعامل معه كإنسان زيه طول ما أنا ما بقدر أذيه وما بيأذيني، لأنه ببساطة إحنا بني آدمين.
This was a very good insight into the program. What you have seen in this video was mostly videos taken during city tours that are held by the teachers. So part of the program, the groups which are formed equally by Jewish and Arab participants actually form a visit in their own city, in that case in Jerusalem, and they jointly decide where they will visit. So they would go into houses, schools, public spaces, and sing together and actually experience the city together as a group. I want to hand over to Hanin, my colleague and a dear friend. Hanin has been with the program. Hanin, you will introduce yourself. So please take over.
My name is Hanin. I am from Jerusalem. I come from the background of teaching. I am a history teacher, and I worked in the bilingual hand-in-hand school. And so many years I've been working on developing a history program, special history program, which is called the Palestinian narrative and the Israeli narrative. And I'm so interesting on the teaching this way. Actually, I grew up in a separate educational school in a village that is called Bet Safafa. I never met the other. And the first meeting with the other was in the university when I started my path of education. But I actually say it was not a real meeting. It was a competition meeting for me. Actually, I joined the university so young. I was 17, and I felt like I was all the time just experiencing the competition between the other, and especially the Jewish, which is having a much more better language than me and much more better base of education than me. So I really worked so hard to meet the real other and to feel equal to them. So I started my way as a teacher in the bilingual school, as I said and mentioned before. And I feel that the people who I am teaching in my classes are so young, and they are having a so beautiful and unique experience that we as teachers didn't really live this experience. So there was a principal of my school that told me about the Teachers Lounge program. And I was really so interested to know what is going on this program, especially that as teachers, we never have the opportunity to share our educational life and to talk about so many things that matter our students, our living in Jerusalem, and the complication of living and education in Jerusalem. So I joined the Teachers Lounge as a facilitator at the beginning. I started to facilitate a group, and I felt really that this adds so many things for me as an experience. I felt that here I can have the equality to share my thoughts, my issues, my political things, that my background that I am coming from, and I felt for the first time that I having a unique experience which I can talk in my own language. So as the mayor mentioned before, each one of these meetings is translated in Arabic and in Hebrew. So this gave me the opportunity to exist and to feel like I have the right to share my language, my culture, my background. And then few years later, I became the coordinator of the Teachers Lounge program. And I felt that like I'm taking responsibility just to share my experience to other colleagues and to bring them inside this program. Also, I felt like I'm really inspired of these meetings, and I go back to my class actually and sharing the tours that I was yesterday with the teachers, which neighborhood I was, there. And I feel like it really affects my life in different ways, especially living in Jerusalem. As a Palestinian, I have so many fears. And these fears, I felt like they broken while I met the other. So one of the tours that we coordinate in the teachers' lounge was the place that I never have a courage to go. And I think that one of the places that our colleagues mentioned, it was to go to Mahne Yehuda, which is like a local, how do you say, shuk, mayor, a local
market.
Yeah, local market. And I, as Hanin, as Palestinian, I really has a fear to go there alone. And I remember so well that one of my colleagues, which was a Jewish, she told me, we will go together and you will break your fear. And we went together, and I think that it was one of the most amazing visits to this market. And on the other hand, I remember that I took hands of the colleague and leaded her to the old city. So I feel that this program gives you really so many unique opportunities to break rules and to just to erase your fears. And this happened to me. And also I all the time say to my students in the class, I was there, and I felt like it was amazing to spend the night with this group. And on the other hand, the others in the street was looking at us like what they are doing. And I felt like I had a group, and we built a friendship between us. We became friends. We entered to their houses. We really get to know their culture and their religious so many habits. And we felt that we have so many things to share. Sometimes we talked about politics. Sometimes we talked about our teenagers, boys and girls, and how they grow up, and how we are as mothers share the same problems and the same conflict with our own kids. So I think this program gives so much in the personal level, and also in the around the surrounding community that we live in. So many things they are asking me, my parents, my dad, what are you doing, where did you go, and how was it like? So I felt like I have to explain all the time what I'm doing and how interesting it was. And I feel like I'm not afraid to say, in the past I didn't really choose to share these moments with my family or with my friends or with my colleagues in the school. But now I feel like I broke the rules, and I'm ready to share and tell, and to invite each one of these educations that educational person that I feel that they are the messengers of building and just listening for the other, and keeping our students in this way of thinking, to criticize the community and to make it much more better. And this, I feel like I'm playing two roles. One is for me as a teacher, and one for me as an educational person who have influence on her students.
Thank you so much, Hanin. It's really, as always, it's so interesting. Even for me, being in the program, I'm always surprised and moved by the learning about the impact and these little and big moments that each of you take with you onto your life. Orna, I would like to introduce Orna.
Good evening. I didn't think I'd mention this, but at the beginning when you were talking, I can't stop myself from telling you that my grandmother left Germany at 39, And she came to England, and Mommy came to Israel when she was 19. She was in Bnei Akiva. So thank you, England, for saving my grandmother. Part of the story in Israel, because our history is in our everyday life, in our beliefs. And educator for 25 years. I was working in school for 20 years. Like Hanin's school, Arabs and Jews learn together, and my families learn together from kindergarten till 18, for 13 years living together, and showing that if we live together, we can work out, and if we talk, things can work out. Because I was in such a school, the name of the school is Keshet, for the principal in the junior high. We had many projects and meetings between Arabs and Jews. There we would play, the children would meet and play chess together. I'm reading, Orna, you're so right. And we really work hard to make these meetings happen. But I myself, as a teacher, I was so busy in teaching that I never really to sit down and really meet my colleagues, my Arab colleagues, and meet Hanin and hear her story, and she would hear my story. Work that for several times I tried to meet in different groups, but I never really could relax and have a real meeting. And I decided that the Jewish-Arab issue is going to be the major thing that I'm going to do in my sabbatical. So I was also in the teacher's lounge, and we had tours around the country in Bedouin schools and Arab schools all over the country. And I went to another course that I learned more about Islam. The biggest feeling that what I want to tell you is that in Israel, we have a very big problem of trust. And the only way to overcome this problem is to sit down and talk. We have no other hope, because it just takes us away into the worst news, and very depressing. And it's very difficult to live with the feeling that we don't go in and have a meeting with Arabs and we can talk and meet each other as people. It's like, it's so simple and it's so naive, power we have. And I saw before somebody asked the question, if the policy, if the country, if the municipality believes in it, come from the little people, from beneath, because the policy is always difficult. But if we make little bridges, and Palestinian teacher and each Israeli teacher will sit and meet each other, then we can maybe get our students to, we have to prove to ourselves that we can sit down and meet. So this year was very, very exciting for me, very eye-opening. Are really my neighbors. Beit Safafa is 3 minutes away. I'm away, the old city is 2 minutes away from Talbiya. It's all around me, and we're so close and so far. And my children don't have any Arab friends. They're always afraid. And when I had the group, Hanin was in my house with 20 people sitting in the living room and talking, my children's faces looking and saying, maybe something can be different. Maybe it doesn't have to be the same story over. It gives hope. It's like oxygen for our survival. And I hope more and more people will be on the program. And here in Israel today has to be in some form of meeting Arabs. It's a must. So Meir, I think that's in a nutshell.
Thank you, Orna. Aviva, back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for those excellent presentations. Orna, I'm delighted that England saved your mother, as we did many, many others, and we
the whole family
continue to do, which makes us very proud to be British. And I have to say that I actually visited Hanin, the Hand in Hand school, about 10 years ago, and it is remarkable, really remarkable, the work that was being done, and very interesting talking to the children about how they were beginning to integrate socially. So not only in school, but when they were invited to each other's Pesach tables and the equivalent, Arab celebrations, and their parents were beginning to meet, which I hope has gone from strength to strength. So we've got a couple of questions in the chat, which we'll go through. So Keith wanted to know, what is the Israeli government's and the city authorities' view of the Teachers' Lounge?
So our goal is really to work with the ecosystem. We will not save the planet by ourselves. So we have a lot of partnerships and we work closely with the municipalities in the cities and the regions where we have programs. I can tell you that in Jerusalem, where we have been active since 7-8 years, the municipality has become a major part of our program. We have been personally introduced to the mayor of Jerusalem, and he is personally committed to developing Eastern Jerusalem and to promoting shared society in Jerusalem. So he's a very strong supporter of initiatives like Teachers Lounge and Teachers Lounge in particular. And we and same goes for other cities. So we realize that we need to work very closely with the cities because we are part of a much larger ecosystem. We're also working closely with the Ministry of Education, in which there is a division dedicated to shared society. But it is with organizations like Teachers Lounge who are actually showing the direction and implementing day by day the programs, and then the Ministry of Education can actually embrace those programs and we become like one ecosystem. In order to be attractive and to attract teachers in Israel, have to take professional courses, and by which they get credits as they undergo professional developments during their teaching years. So we have to get an approval from the Ministry of Education in each city or region that we are active in to present our program, and that's how we actually bring them on board and make them part of our activity.
Thank you, Mayor, very much indeed. And Meryl asked, sorry, I've lost the question. Hold on a moment. Meryl asked, she asked two questions actually. One is, what language do you use for your meetings? And are the numbers equal do you have an equal number of Israelis and Palestinians? And are there Christians involved too?
Hanin, do you want to take?
Yeah, I will take it. The program is based on equality, so we are we are trying to work so hard to make the numbers of the Arab teachers and the Jewish teachers are equal, and we also talk in two languages, Arabic and Hebrew, and we have a translator. So we are really working hard to bring this equality. So sometimes we need to do some phone calls just to bring another Jewish teacher to join the group, to have this balance in the group, so we can feel that we are not just a little bit of Jewish and so many Arabs and in the other sides. I have to mention that before 4 years, we have a problem that we have to make phone calls for Arab teachers just to explain for them what is this program. And actually, when the program is grown up, we felt and we noticed that the number of the Arabs that want to share and to take part of this the Teachers Lounge program is growing up and becoming much more better than the other years, and they are joining based on the others teacher colleagues that told them about their how they felt in this program, and how unique it was, and how it was really easy and good for them to share and to feel equal and to say our or their own opinions, like just and they was heard. So we felt that number of Arabs are really becoming and growing, and we all the time are working on the balance between Jewish and Arabs in our groups.
Thank you. Haneen, there's a comment and a question, which I think are related. Wanda says, you're so brave and such a good role model. And thinking about that, Meryl has asked whether you met any family or professional opposition to your decision to go to the other parts of Jerusalem, and are your friends and family ever afraid for you?
Yeah, I will be honest with you that living in Jerusalem can be can be changed from minute to other minute. There is so many complicated days that we feel like fear to go to some areas, and we know where to go and where today it's not really good idea to go. So I share my fears with my own family, and I say it. I feel I have to say that I am afraid to go today. So once we share our fears with the group, we can delay our tour. And it happened really when it was the Shireen Abu Akleh funeral. We was meant to meet on that day, and we felt that this day is not it's not acceptable to meet. So we talked about our fears and shared them with the others, with other colleagues, and they are really was so understanding and felt like, yeah, you are right. We can delay our program for today and find another day just to meet. But I would like to say that we never give up. We make our path or our way just to do something, but not to cancel it forever. We have so many Zoom meetings, and sometimes we switch the places that we have to meet. If we felt that the old city is on fire, we can meet on the other side of the city. So we are really like juggling between this field, which is called Jerusalem. And actually, we just talk honestly and share our fears. And I think that's acceptable, just to talk and say what you think.
Thank you. May or well, whoever wants to answer it. Terry noted that participants in the video that we watched are mainly women. Does this reflect the overall teaching community in Israel, or are men less willing to become involved with the Teachers Lounge?
Ona, or you want me to take it?
Yeah, whoever.
Don't think man has to answer.
So, teaching is in Israel, I think more than 80% of the teachers are female or women. And so by nature, most of our participants are women. We don't see, sometimes we have, the percentage of men in the program is relatively similar to their percentage in the overall teaching community.
Thank you. Anne wants to know where the Teachers Lounge operates in Western Galilee.
The meeting spot is at the Kfar Masarik. We're now in discussions of maybe moving it to Akko, but it's in that area, Kfar Masarik, not just by between Akko and Aria.
Can you give us a little bit more detail as to how you recruit the teachers to join you?
Yes, so like Haneen mentioned, luckily enough, well, because we are a grassroots program, we believe in direct contact with the teachers. Ona knows well that I tried to recruit her for a number of years just by calling her phone directly or exchanging messages. I didn't give up, like Hanin said, until Ona joined. But we actually make a tremendous effort in reaching out directly to the teachers. We want them to know that we are personally interested. A generic invitation of why don't you join this or that. They have a lot of options. They need to train, but they have tons of options, and we want to make it personal because we also want to make sure that they are personally engaged and they are really interested in showing up. So we make sure we call them up. Sometimes they say, we're busy this year, so we come back to them next year. And also many of our participants actually, towards the end of the year, we actually ask them to share with us names, of course, only if they're willing, names and phone numbers of colleagues. And that's how we grow our community, and we just reach out directly and very, very tediously. I mean, yep.
That's thank you very much indeed. Orna, can I ask you, do you continue the conversations you're having in the teaching lounge? Do you take those into the classroom as well?
In the school that I worked before, we did it on a regular basis, and it was part of the organization and the belief. Which has 80 students of special education with kids that are out of their homes, their children at risk, and dealing with it. And I'm too new. Maybe after I fit in and find myself, I'll manage to. But it's interesting because in the team, Arabs, and some of the students have one parent that is Arab. And that they lead a very, very complicated life amongst no group accepts them, and they have a very difficult time. And that's something I'm learning to work with this year. Managed to fit it in. I just started 3 weeks in a new school, so it's too early to say, but I'm going to be working in the teachers' lounge and meeting with live in me, because I'm going to continue in the teacher's lounge. So I'm sure it's going to be living in me and in my work.
Thank you. What's the proportion of Orthodox teachers, Haredi or Orthodox teachers? Just looking at the chart that you showed of the mix in Jerusalem in particular, there was a heavy weight towards the very Orthodox.
Well, I have to say sadly that we are unable to recruit teachers from the ultra-Orthodox community for a number of reasons. It's actually it's a personal mission for me, and I keep trying. But the ultra-Orthodox community is undergoing many changes, and eventually they will become part of this program as well. It's just that it's a little bit out of their way at the moment. They're very, very busy with many social changes that are happening within the ultra-Orthodox community. But I do believe strongly that we will start seeing them over the next few years. This will happen.
You just need one mayor to start the flow.
Well, we had one or two. It's not enough, unfortunately. But as they are becoming more and more part of the bigger system. And also, we have to say that the ultra-Orthodox society is has very different groups within it. So it takes time. We have to be patient. It's a long distance running, but we will get there.
Good. I like your positivity. I've just got one more question, well, a statement really, which leads me into asking you, Mayor. Everybody can get hold of your details through the TalkMatters website, but would you like to put a web address or a contact address on the chat now, so that people can get hold of you if they want to? And there's Keith McNichol is saying that he's helping to enable a group from England to visit Neve Shalom, which is the school actually that Jenny has been involved with. Oh, it's also called Wahat Al Salam, and they'll be in the village between from the 6th of November. And he's wondering if he can bring if there's a possibility of him bringing about 10 people to perhaps one of your Teachers Lounge meetings.
Well, one thing we didn't mention is that the meetings are very intimate. Yeah. Sometimes I'm not even letting into them, honestly. Yes. Because we are really trying to create a safe space. Yes. And the first rule of this safe space is that people will be seeing the same people every meeting, because it takes time to build trust. And there is a lot of mistrust, as Ona said before. It takes time to build it, and it takes a fraction of a second to break it. So we're very, very cautious about who we bring and when. I'm happy to, you're welcome to reach out to me over email, and I will do my best to find the best way possible to expose and to share with groups. We're hosting a group from Georgia next week, telling social activists from visiting Jerusalem. So, and we're having this session. I'm very much for exposing the program and sharing the stories and what we do. So please reach out. I'm happy to take this.
So Keith, you've got the mayor's details now on the chat. And Meryl says her sister's involved in the English-speaking Residents Association, giving schools volunteers for English practice, and she wonders if there could be a tie-up. But again, Meryl, it's probably better, as we're nearing 7 o'clock, if you contact Mayor direct on that.
Sure.
And
I'm sorry, I don't see any email details for Mayor.
Oh, Mayor, you've sent it direct to me. If you send it to the group. Yeah, thanks, Keith. And Anne, as we're nearing 7 o'clock and we are on a bit of a time constraint today, Anne has asked what the subject matter of your meetings. But actually, Anne, if you go onto the Teachers Lounge website, it gives a very good explanation as to what happens in the meetings. So I think with that, I need to draw this session to a close, and I'd like to thank all of you who have participated. It's been fascinating to listen to all three of the representatives from the Teachers Lounge, and we thank you very much indeed for giving us your time this evening. And I have to say, both Orna and Hanan, I think it would be wonderful to be taught by either of you. Very, very impressive. And despite Israel being the IT hub of the world, unfortunately, we did experience a bit of freezing, but we were able to get the sense of absolutely everything that you're doing. So
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you for caring.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Daniel. Bye-bye.
Thank you.